Within the depths of Tartarus, Cronus found a group of sunship, their forms radiating an ancient power and their eyes gleaming with a knowledge that spanned eons. Some bore a striking resemblance to Pyracmon, their features sharp and angular, their expressions etched with an air of authority. "Who are you?" Cronus inquired, his voice echoing through the abyss. "We are the Telchines," one replied, his voice a deep rumble. "The firstborn, the forgotten ones." Cronus frowned. He had heard whispers of these ancient legends, powerful beings who existed before the Titans and the rise of Pyracmon. They were masters of craftsmanship and wielders of formidable magic. "But I thought the Telchines were—" Cronus hesitated. "Extinct," another offered with amusement. "We prefer to think of ourselves as reclusive. We withdrew from the affairs of the cosmos long ago, disillusioned by the endless cycles of conflict." Cronus nodded. The Telchines had chosen isolation to preserve their knowledge, rather than be drawn into the power struggles of the multiverse. Soon Tartarus buzzed with a newfound energy, as the shadows retreated from the fervent discussions of the assembled sunship. "We cannot allow him to continue unchecked," Cronus declared. "His obsession with chaos threatens to consume us all." "Indeed," a Telchine elder concurred, "Pyracmon has lost his way, blinded by ambition. He must be stopped." "But who will lead us?" Gyges questioned, his presence adding weight to the uncertainty in the air. A lively debate ensued, but a consensus emerged when the Telchines proposed a different candidate: Ophioneus. "Ophioneus," a Telchine elder explained, "possesses a power that rivals even that of Pyracmon. He is the embodiment of the primordial waters, the source of all life, the guardian of balance. He has the strength to withstand Pyracmon's chaos." "Ophioneus is the one," Cronus conceded, acknowledging the wisdom of the proposal. "He is the leader we need." The Telchines approached Ophioneus, their forms shimmering as they addressed the master of the deeps. "Great Ophioneus," the elder pleaded, "the sunship are unified. We ask you to take up the mantle of leadership. Lead us against Pyracmon and restore the balance you so cherish." Ophioneus remained still, his presence like a vast, heavy tide. "No," he rumbled, the word carrying the weight of an ocean floor. "I will not lead this charge. To lead a rebellion is to invite the very chaos you claim to despise. My path is one of preservation, not conquest." "But you are the only one with the strength to withstand him," a younger Telchine urged, stepping forward. "If you do not act, the balance you guard will be the first thing Pyracmon incinerates." Ophioneus narrowed his eyes, his gaze cooling the air of Tartarus. "I have spoken. I will not be the hand that shatters the world to save it. I refuse to become a mirror of the tyrant I am asked to overthrow." "No," he boomed, his words leaving a silent echo in the consolidated nothingness that is Tartarus. He doubled down, his energy expanding like an impenetrable reef, signalling that the discussion was over. The Telchines retreated, a frantic, low-frequency chatter breaking out among them. They huddled together, their voices a discordant hum. They glanced back at Ophioneus with a mix of reverence and mounting frustration, debating how to proceed with the chosen leader who refused to lead. The rebellion had found its figurehead, yet Tartarus now pulsed with a new kind of tension. The churning depths of the cosmic ocean mirrored the tempest within Ophioneus himself. He heard the whispers calling him weak or afraid. He knew his own power, a single surge could unravel the celestial tyrant, but he feared that unleashing it would shatter the delicate balance of reality. "Let them call me what they will," he boomed, his voice leaving a bitter ring in the emptiness. He would be the anchor. But the challenge echoed across the expanse. Cronus, impatient with Ophioneus's refusal, finally snapped. "If you are not with us, you are against us. Prove your strength, Ophioneus, or be branded a coward." Ophioneus sighed. He would show the Titan his power without malice. The two primordial beings faced each other. Cronus struck first, attempting to freeze Ophioneus in time, but Ophioneus transmuted the space around him into a vortex of energy. The battle was a cosmic ballet. Cronus tried to solidify water into ice cages, while Ophioneus transformed it into searing vapour. Finally, Cronus unleashed his full power on Ophioneus's heart. Ophioneus felt the cold grip of stagnation. In a desperate surge, he transmuted his own body, flesh to water, bones to diamond, blood to gold, becoming a being of pure energy. Cronus faltered, and Ophionius pushed him back with a final torrent. As the dust settled, a flicker of grudging respect sparked. Pyrachmon must be stopped, Cronus insisted. We need a leader. A leader is only a method, Ophionius retorted. My power demands necessary transmutation. If I use it aggressively, even in defense, it can destroy reality. My method is my power. Then let us decide which method is better, Cronus suggested. Not with powers, but with a wrestling match. No powers, no tricks. The rebellion shall follow the winner's method. The two titans grappled. Cronus, hardened by battle, pushed Ophionius to his limits. With a final surge, Cronus managed to overpower Ophionius, pinning him to the ground. You are a worthy adversary, Cronus conceded, helping him up. Together we will defeat Pyrachmon. Despite the temporary truce, a darker threat loomed. The other sunship within Tartarus was suffering from the ultimate reality, which weighed heavy on Cronus. He could see them groaning as the absolute dissolution of the abyss began to tear at their immortal forms. Grasping at the very fabric of entropy, Cronus used his abilities to protect them from this final end. He reached out to reverse the entropy of their birth from primordial eggs, encasing the sunship back into their egg form before physical reality had even solidified. He shielded them from the ultimate dissolution of Tartarus. One by one, the warriors dissolved into shimmering energy, retracting into calcified shells of pure celestial intent. Safe within these dormant seeds, their potential was preserved, hidden from the hunger of the abyss. As he surveyed the area, however, Cronus noticed something unsettling. 4 figures stood apart. Iapetus, Hyperion, Creus, Caius, Cronus called out, his voice weary from the strain of the regression. Why do you stand apart? Have you not been affected by my powers? Iapetus stepped forward. We cannot be regressed, Cronus. Our immortals protect us from the flow of time. Iapetus stepped forward, his eyes reflecting a void that even Cronus's time-warping light could not fill. We cannot be regressed, Cronus. Our immortals protect us from the flow of unmaking, not by our will, but by their very nature. I am the prime mortal, Iapetus declared. As the entropy wash hit him, a ripple of white nothingness expanded from his skin, a reflex of his existence that neutralized the temporal energy before it could take hold. My essence is a void in the tapestry of causality. To the prime mortal, your manipulation of time was merely a whisper that fell upon deaf ears. My nature simply negates the existence of any force that seeks to alter my state. It is not a choice I make, but a fact of what I am. He gestured to Hyperion, who stood radiant and unchanged. Hyperion is the High One. His essence is tethered to the fundamental laws of space itself. You tried to shift the when, but he is a physical constant of the where. His form automatically adapts to the physical laws of whatever space he occupies. When you warped the dimensions of Tartarus to reverse entropy, his immortal nature simply recalibrated his existence to remain functional within the shift. He is anchored to the universe's coordinates, rendering your temporal tides irrelevant. Hyperion rolled his shoulders, a soft radiance shimmering off his skin. He gave a casual, effortless grin. It was a good stretch, though, he quipped, his tone light despite the gravity of the abyss. Creus stepped forward, his presence radiating a heat that felt like a mountain under pressure. And I am the great lord, he growled, ignoring Hyperion's levity. My power is a living reaction to hardship. As your magic tried to crush my history, my immortal essence instinctively fed on the strain. I did not regress because my nature cannot be diminished. It can only ascend. The more your power pressed to unmake me, the more my own power exploded to match the threat. I am the breaking point that refuses to break. Finally, Caius looked up, his eyes bright with a terrifying cold clarity. I am the questioner, he whispered. The moment you grasped the fabric of entropy, my mind had already processed the sudden change. It is an automatic reflex. I cannot be caught off guard by a shift in environment or energy. My intellect instantly analysed the optimal path through the ripples of your magic, deducing the exact mental and spiritual frequency needed to remain unaffected. I did not have to think to survive. My nature understood the solution before the problem could reach me. Cronus looked at the 4 unyielding sunship. They were the anomalies, beings who could not be hidden away in shells. while the others were safe in their eggs. Cronus nodded slowly, his gaze sweeping over the four survivors. He saw in them the same grim adherence to duty and purpose that fueled his own heart. There was no warmth in this alliance, only a shared, unbreakable discipline, and a refusal to yield to the entropy of the abyss. Iapetus was the first to answer. He did not move, his form remaining a static pillar of negation against the swirling chaos of Tartarus. His gaze met Cronus's with a cold, mirrored intensity, the look of one veteran recognizing the iron will of another. "The void I carry does not seek conflict," Iapetus stated, his voice devoid of tremor or heat. "But it recognizes the necessity of structure. Pyrachmon is a flaw in the equation of existence. I will negate his path, for it is the only logical conclusion to my nature." Hyperion didn't wait for Iapetus to finish. He let out a short, sharp bark of a laugh, his restlessness manifesting as a shimmering vibration in the space around him. He paced a small circle, his eyes bright with the prospect of the journey ahead. "Sitting in the dark watching eggs hatch isn't exactly high on my list, Cronus," he said, his casual tone belying a fierce, underlying drive. "If we're going to dismantle a throne, let's do it with speed. I'm in, mostly because I want to see what happens when Pyrachmon tries to manipulate a sunship he can't even touch." Cronus let out a low guttural growl, his skin beginning to glow with a deep, volcanic crimson. The air around him distorted as his power level began its slow, inevitable climb in response to the challenge. "You spoke of a burden," Cronus rumbled, his eyes fixed on the ceiling of the abyss, as if he could see Pyrachmon through the layers of reality. "Hardship is my fuel. If the campaign is as grueling as you promise, I will be the strongest among you by the end of it. Lead on. I crave the breaking point." Cronus remained perfectly still, his eyes vibrating with a terrifyingly fast, analytical light. "I have already calculated thousands of variations of this conflict," Cronus whispered, his voice clinical and precise. "In every successful outcome, the four of us are required. To refuse would be to choose a statistically certain extinction. I have deduced the optimal strategy for the opening movement. We march, not for glory, but because it is the only right decision." The Tel-Chinese emerged further from the shadows, their chattering voices quieted by the sheer weight of the collective will in the chamber. They saw a unified front: Cronus, the strategist of time; Iapetus, the unshakable void; Hyperion, the master of the spatial expanse; Cronus, the evolving engine of war; and Caius, the mind that could not be surprised. "Then it begins," Cronus declared, his voice leaving a final heavy stamp on the silence of Tartarus. "We prepare, we arm, and then we rise."